Hello and welcome to Why We Are Christians. My name is Kent Philpott. I'm the pastor of Miller Avenue Baptist Church in Mill Valley, California. We're talking with a Californian here on the program. Going to be the second program. We're talking with Sharon Dutra. She's down in Grover Beach, California.
Woo-hoo.
That's by, did I say it right, Sharon?
You did, yeah. I'm just
Grover
saying,
Beach.
yay!
It's by Pismo Beach. What a great place to live.
Right.
Hey, Sharon. Thanks for being on the program. And we had Sharon on and her husband Michael on the program about 3 or 4 years ago at the height of the pandemic. And we couldn't be here at Marin TV Studios, so we fixed up the part of the balcony at Miller Avenue Church, and we filmed you there. Remember that?
I do
Sharon?
remember.
2 programs with you and 1 program with Michael.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I want you again to please tell us a little bit about your upbringing, what happened to you, early family, and so on, just so people can get an idea of who we're talking to.
Hello, my name is Sharon, and I'll just do this in a nutshell because we kind of went through all this in the other show. But I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and my father was a womanizer and an alcoholic. He was unable to raise my sister and I, so we ended up in foster care very early. My mother had already left us when I was 5, and I never saw her again. And so going in and out of foster care while I was growing up was very difficult. If anyone has ever been through that experience, you'll understand. Even if you have good foster parents, it's a difficult transition for a little kid. And so I started having a lot of rejection and abandonment issues, and I just increasingly felt insecure and started really hating myself. So when my father married for the 3rd time, I went to go live with him and his wife, and she was a very good mother until her daughter was born, my half sister. And all of a sudden, I was not the golden child anymore. I was completely ignored. So that was when I was 13, and all of the abandonment and rejection issues came up to the surface with a flood. And I started smoking marijuana. And so then I ran away from home when I was 15 and lived on the street for a month. And when I got arrested, they sent me to juvenile hall in central Los Angeles. It was called East Lake Juvenile Hall. And this was a very tough place for a young girl who had never been outside of the culture that I lived in. And it was actually such a beautiful experience, though, because God began using that even to minister to me. Because as I grew up, I understood different people, and it was a gift. I always think of it as a gift. So, and when I was about 20, I met my ex-husband, Bill, and he was a convict. He was in prison, actually, when I met him. He was working on a fire, and we were doing the fire camp food in the California Conservation Corps. And we ended up getting married and having 2 children. I had already used drugs, a plethora of all the drugs I could get my hands on for years. And come to find out, he was an intravenous drug user, and it didn't take me long to get involved in that. I was on IV cocaine on a daily basis for 6.5 years, and I overdosed 4 times. I tried to commit suicide. I hated myself. I hated my life, and there was just no relief in sight. So I ended up living on the street. I left my family. I ended up living on the street for 2 years. I was that homeless person that you see nowadays. And it was a horrible experience. Again, I tried to commit suicide just to get out of my pain. And I was arrested 13 times by the time I was 32, and ended up going to prison at the very end. And I thought my life was over. But in reality, God used it in a tremendous way. I was in the receiving unit, and we were there for 23 hours a day, and my cellmate just happened to be working in the kitchen. And I had just finished a book called Devil Driver, Chaplain Ray's ministry to prisoners. And it was a gangster book. So I thought, oh, this is going to be a great book. Well, it was a great book, but not because it was a gangster book, but because Jesus got a hold of my life through that book. And I got down on my knees and I wept for my whole life, problems and the opportunities that I had missed, the people that I had hurt, and separation from God and all of that. So I ended up in prison. It was really one of the best experiences of my life because of this. And I started teaching Bible studies even then. I hadn't written anything yet, but I was teaching other girls from the Bible, because I was reading the Bible for hours a day. It was the most exciting book I'd ever gotten my hands on. And I learned that God loves me, even though I was such a horrible, lost sinner. And anyway, so I got out of prison. I met my current husband. We've been married 32 years, Michael. He's the love of my life besides Jesus. And we love to do ministry and to bring other people to faith and to teach them about who Jesus is and how to live their lives for God. I ended up going back to nursing school. I graduated with honors, which was a miracle because I thought I had killed every brain cell in my head. And God restored that too. So the story will look different for everyone, but he restores the years that the locusts have eaten, and that is Joel 2:25. That's my life verse. And now, Pastor Kent.
Yeah, Sharon. Have you retired from nursing?
I'm a retired nurse. Yes, I worked in nursing for 19 years. And I worked in the ER, cardiac nurse, med surg. I taught nursing, and I just had a wonderful career. I love nursing. Actually, I retired early because Michael and I decided from the Lord that we should go into full-time ministry, because I was doing the ministry and working. And so at one point, the Lord just spoke to us, we felt, and said, I want you to do full-time ministry.
Okay. Last week we talked about your book, New Beginnings, which was published, was that 2011?
2017.
2017. And I have it. It says, you wrote this for me in the cover of the book. It says, I hope this book will change your life, Sharon. I bet you did that for a lot of books. And so New Beginnings, and it runs through, it's a very easy to read book, and it runs through the basics. Sin, repentance, faith, all the way down to baptism, tithing, communion. And so you did that book, and now we're looking at this next book. I'm going to hold it up. Fishers of Men. And it's becoming a dynamic disciple of Jesus Christ. The thing that I like about this, and I like interviewing you, Sharon, is because real Christianity is life-changing. Life-changing.
Right.
You just don't go to church on Sunday once in a while. That's not how it works, is it, Sharon?
No, absolutely. It's a lifestyle.
It is indefinitely a lifestyle. So I want to just take a look at this book a little bit. Your dedication is simply dedicated to everyone who helped me step out of my miry clay and set my feet upon the rock of Jesus Christ. That's your dedication. And so you divide this book into two pieces. Part one is called The Heart of Discipleship. and you talk about the passion for Jesus, tilling the soil, laying the foundation and surrender. And then the second part of the book is called The Function of Discipleship. And I just want to read this important. Servanthood, spiritual gifts, sharing our faith, discerning God's will, the victorious life, and the four-legged church. What is a four-legged church, Sharon? That's new to me.
So it's funny because that's the first question in the chapter. It says, what in the world is a four-legged church? And I said, well, it's a church with four legs, of course. So a four-legged church, we believe that it has to have biblical teaching. It should be from the Word of God, not just someone's opinion or, that kind of thing. We also believe that worship should be worshipful, that there should be time to reflect and think about the Lord instead of just rushing through a bunch of songs just to get through so that you can be done at 12 so you can have lunch. So, and we also believe that fellowship is essential, that having fellowship time with each other for those in the faith is very important. And right, so outreach is the fourth leg of the four-legged church, and we think that's essential. We have been to so many churches, dozens of churches, and outreach is way down on the list of things that the churches do. And we think, outreach doesn't have to be, I'm, Joe Evangelist, and you don't have to have the gift of evangelism. We're all called to share our faith in some way or another, and we should be doing it in the marketplace. We should be doing it on the street. When we meet a cashier, there's always opportunity. In fact, if you want to receive some outreach brochures, we pass them out everywhere we go, and we would be happy to send you some.
But real Christianity is serious stuff. It is. It becomes your life, and
That's right.
And you love it, and it brings meaning to our lives, substance to our lives, reality to our lives, and it is a shield about us that protects us as well. All of that, it really is. That's how it works. So, who are you writing this book for? The Fishers of Men. Oh, and it says for group or individual study, right?
Right. So, Fishers of Men is clearly a discipleship book. It's basically, New Beginnings is all about the basics of the faith. And then once you lay that foundation, then you can move on to the next level. And a lot of people don't know how to share their faith. They don't know how to surrender. They don't know how to get up every day and live out the Christian life. And so the Fishers of Men gives you a lot of instruction and teaching on how to do these things.
Right. Fishers of Men. Essentially, I would describe that, Sharon. I think you're meaning that you are presenting the message of Jesus to other people.
That's right. So basically, I titled it Fishers of Men because when we understand the basics of Christianity and then we move to the next level and learn how to share our faith, Jesus said, I want you to be fishers of men. I want you to go out and cast your net as wide and often as you can, and you will catch some. And it's not us that does the catching, it's Jesus through his Holy Spirit. But we are to cast the net. We are to share Jesus with others because it says that we have to hear the word in order to be drawn. And
yes.
So that is our job as Christians.
Mm-hmm. I think we use the word evangelism, and that means essentially fishers of men. Of course, that includes women. It includes everybody,
right.
And that is really the key of it because that was the intent of Jesus in making disciples and sending them out, them out. Every Christian is sent out to be somehow engaged in the words of presenting the message of Jesus to other people.
That's right.
That's what it's all about. The other thing I want to bring out, that, and I don't want time to slip away before we do this, because I want to bring this book up here. Now, this is the New Beginnings book, but it's in Japanese.
And we had 1,500 copies of my New Beginnings book in Japanese printed in Japan and sent out to 69 different prisons there. So that was really exciting.
Sharon, now you just said 69 different prisons in Japan?
Right.
Wow.
Right.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
So you focused a lot on, and we're going to talk about the other languages too, but your interest is getting this message into people who are in prison of one kind or another.
That is a big part of our ministry, but that's not the only part of our ministry.
Right.
So we have our books in, I say our books, my books in English, Spanish, Japanese, and Farsi. And Farsi is the Persian language. And we have my books, my ebook in Farsi on about 4 or 5 different Persian websites. And those are broadcast into the Middle East, right into people's homes. Millions of people have been reached. I was actually on Iran Alive television in Texas twice. And that was, again, broadcast right into Iranian homes, which is so exciting. It's the fastest growing, underground growing church in the world is in Iran. And we just learned today that we are going to also be on Sat7, which is a satellite feed, again, into millions of homes into the Middle East for Persian-speaking people.
I am flabbergasted. Farsi, you're talking Iran.
Right.
Shia, Iran.
Right.
Wow. That is incredible. How did that happen?
So my books were translated into Farsi, and the Farsi community, Persian community, is very tight. There are
You're talking
several...
about the prisons in Iran.
No, this is simply people who live in Iran.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think we're in any prisons in Iran because they don't have the ability to, I don't even think, to even communicate
okay, I gotcha.
with broadcast. So this is going into everyday lives in Iran, right into their homes. In fact, they call the satellite dish the national flower there because there are so many satellites, and this is how they stay in touch with people out of their country. Otherwise, everything that they hear and read and watch is propaganda. And so but they can get real news and real Christian broadcasting through these satellites, and it's phenomenal what's happening there.
Wow, Sharon, this is truly news.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's truly news. Now, you mentioned in the last program that also, in terms of Spanish, you brought up the Dominican Republic,
Mm-hmm.
potential Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that, the Spanish outreach.
About a month ago, I received an email from the Dominican Republic, Pastor Rafael, and he asked if he could have our file in Spanish so that he could print 300 copies of my Fishers of Men book there. And so that is in the works right this minute. And he's also going to be taking those books into Venezuela at the end of this month to a church there. And so that will be the 10th country that we're in.
Well, okay, now I'm just thinking some other people might be out there, maybe Korean or Chinese or various languages. I want to make sure that right now it comes up how it is that people could communicate with you, and that would be by going to betransformedministries.com. Is that right, Sharon?
Right.
That's,
Or you can just Google my name, Sharon Dutra, Dutra, and my name will come up, and the books will come up, and some of the speaking events that I've been at, and the shows that I've been on and stuff. So you can, if you're curious or interested in that, it would be easier to remember Sharon Dutra maybe. But
right.
Yes, our website is at Be Transformed Ministries, and my testimony's on there on YouTube. If you just want to watch the testimony, it's on YouTube under Sharon's Story of New Life.
Very good. So there might be some people out there that they're from a country that would love to get this book in, and and no money's involved either, is it?
No what?
No money's involved.
Sometimes we'll try to gift people for our books, but we try not to do the monetary thing because that's just not what we're about. It's not that we don't want to pay for someone's time, but we don't have a lot of money, and we want to be judicious with the funds that we do have. And also, we don't want the motive to be money. We want the motive to be love for Jesus and the desire to get it into their language and their country.
Wow. Yeah, Katie and I's work of our Earth and Vessel Publishing, we try to do the same thing, get it into other languages. Not easily done, but I can see.
Right.
Not easily done, but I can see that this is an excellent way to approach things. So, Sharon, what do you see? What do you see for your future?
Well, heaven.
What?
Yay. And that's the thing, when we stand before Jesus, what are we going to bring to him? Besides just ourselves, not that we're not important or precious, because he died for each one of us individually. But when I see Jesus, I want to bring all these people with me, and just say, this is what I've done with the gifts that you've given me, Lord. And I want him to be, to have a big smile on his face and go, that's my Sharon. That's what I love, pleasing him. And I love talking to people about Jesus. And really, that's what life is all about. Like you were mentioning in the other show, that being a Christian isn't just about knowing him in your mind and, reading a dry Bible and going to church on Sunday because you feel you should. But it's a lifestyle. It's being in relationship, being crazy about Jesus and letting him transform you and change your life, your mind, your heart, your will, your desires, your everything.
You're exactly right. It's I like to say it's the only place, to be a follower of Jesus, the only place for you to have a satisfaction that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is it. This is it. To understand that all of my terrible past, my background, and my crazy sins today are forgiven.
That's right.
So you don't live this guilt life, this oppressive life that you're bad, you're terrible, you're no good. You're beloved of God. It's a big deal. Big deal.
It is a big deal.
A big deal. And you got purpose. And this is one of my favorite things about being a Christian. You have purpose.
That's right.
You're doing something that is of ultimate importance.
Right. And it's going to make a difference forever. It's not just something that you're just being nice to somebody and giving them a meal, but you're giving them spiritual food that will last this lifetime and the next,
You're exactly right, Sharon. You're exactly right. Well, I'm so glad for the work that you and Michael are doing. Okay, we've just got a little over 3 minutes, and I want to to shift gears now. I'm going to move to how I typically end a program. Okay, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. What is your favorite book in the Old Testament, otherwise known as the Hebrew Bible? Have you got a favorite book?
Well, that's no fair.
That's what?
Let's see. I would probably say I love Genesis and I love Isaiah.
Okay, yeah, Isaiah.
It's pretty hard to choose that.
It is
a favorite.
Yeah. I know. If I were asked a question, I think I'd probably go with Isaiah. Probably go with Isaiah. Before we started the program, I was reading this little book, 100 prophecies about Jesus in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament.
It's very exciting. I know.
100. And you got Isaiah. The book is written 750 plus years before Jesus is even born.
Right.
And in Isaiah, you have the whole life and ministry of Jesus.
That's right.
The whole thing, it's right there.
Right.
How did that happen?
Right.
You can't tell me.
I think they say something like even 8 prophecies, if they come true, that it's mathematically, like a bazillion to 1. Like literally, like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
It's mathematically impossible nearly, even for 8.
Totally impossible. And so Isaiah covers that, but it's sprinkled. Even the very first prophecy is Genesis 3:15. The seed of the woman. The seed of the woman.
And he'll crush your head and
crushes the seed of Satan.
That's right.
Okay. We don't have much time. New Testament. What's your favorite book in New Testament?
Let's see. I love the Gospels, of course, and I love the book of Revelation. Jesus is throughout all the pages in Revelation. Oh my gosh, Colossians is beautiful with the Godhead of Jesus. I can't even begin to say which one is my favorite. I love the entire Bible.
Yeah. I think my New Testament favorite book is probably John, the Gospel of John. Gospel of John. Is there any one Bible verse is your number one?
Yes, it's Joel 2:25, that he will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. And locusts eat everything, and that was my life before I met Christ. And he has exponentially restored my life. And is it Isaiah 40:31 is Michael and our marriage verse, that you will run like eagles and not grow weary and not faint. So
wonderful, Sharon. We've reached the end. Thank you once again for the programmings. And
thank you as well.
And we hope everybody will be interested in this and perhaps get involved in the ministry that Sharon and Michael Dutra are engaged in. All right, this is the end of the program. Until next time, so long.